Welcome to See It Now, a 15-minute review of a movie near you. My name is Michael Domenico. I'm a former film teacher and current filmmaker.
And I'm Don Gibson. I am a current film teacher and sometimes screenwriter.
Don, what movie is the See It Now podcast reviewing today?
We are looking at Poor Things by Yorgos Lanthimos, which has just come out in theaters to a lot of hype. And it's a film that's somewhat based on the Frankenstein idea of a brain being put into a different body, featuring Emma Stone as the monster, and then we also have William Dafoe as the doctor.
I barely can contain myself. Let's cue the Grateful Dead.
Saint Stephen with a rose, in and out of the garden he goes. Country garden in the wind and the rain.
Okay, welcome back to the See It Now podcast. We are doing a quick 15-minute review of a movie that is screening in New York City. This week happens to be Poor Things. Our pod has 5 parts. We have what we liked about the movie, then we go into what we did not like about the movie, and then we go into a top 3 or 4 or 5 of something related to the movie. Then we actually review the movie, and then we review our lunch or dinner the day or night we watched the movie. So, Don, we had 4 things on the menu, so to speak. What did you like about this movie?
Visually, it's fantastic. From the lenses to the colors to the special effects that are used. You know, William Dafoe, the doctor, he spits out bubbles as he eats. There's gondolas in Lisbon. There's beautiful visual effects throughout the entire film. And if you forget what's happening in the story, you will be delighted by what you're seeing on the screen.
I do believe these moments contributed to the story and actually supported a wonderful story and a wonderful film. I think the colorful setting, the wide-angle lens, we're looking at this movie from the perspective of Emma Stone, the POV of Bella Baxter. And I think his filmic conventions that he's using throughout the entire film is really supporting the growth and arc of this character.
You know, I can see that. I mean, so we start in black and white, and Bella is just born in this sequence. Her brain just put into her head, so she's finding herself, and we're learning how to walk, and that's clear. So he's used these lenses before. The Favorite, with a film he did 4 or 5 years ago, also featuring Emma Stone. We saw these lenses used a lot. I found them really pleasurable to watch in that film because it was so interesting, because we felt like we were fly on the wall in those sequences. I feel it's a bit of he does it too much. Like it's his go-to, where it's like, I don't know what to do. Let's go with this angle again. And he almost does it to a fault, I would say.
I actually loved it. I thought it really contributed to the sort of arc of the Emma Stone character. I feel like as from black and white to even more colorful, and as she begins to see the world, and when she goes to Portugal. Just to clarify for some people, this is not a spoiler. Emma Stone is basically a kind of a Frankenstein-type character. She's just been given a new brain, and she has to sort of develop over the course of the film. From 3 years old, I think, is when she starts, and she basically gets into her 20s towards the end of the film. Not a spoiler. But what I thought was interesting in hearing Yorgos talk about this is that Stone and him would divide the film up into 5 stages. There's a stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and within each stage, they could actually rehearse the age that Stone was at. Don, what did you think of the Mark Ruffalo character?
I would say it's the biggest weakness of the film. I really enjoy. So he's the guy that wants to steal Bella away from William Dafoe, who plays God, Chauffeur Godwin, the doctor that creates her. And he's this, Casanova kind of character, and he just, don't worry, love him and leave him, and he becomes entranced with her, etc. I thought he was paper thin and one-dimensional. And I thought there was a lot of potential at the beginning, and then his character just vanishes.
I could not disagree more. I thought the fop, he was a classic fop from the classic comedy world. He was a total clown. He was funny. I thought he had full control over his face, his physicality. He was ridiculous. I I hated him. He kind of reminded me of like a Don Jr. Character.
Also, Remy Youssef, who I didn't really know before this, and I've heard that he does a lot of stand-up. He's this guy who's sort of waiting in the wings for Bella to come back to him, sort of. And I thought he was actually really compelling. I was intrigued by his character. That's the thing about Mark Ruffalo's character, who played the guy named Duncan. He was like, I just didn't believe his character, because in the beginning he's such a confident guy, and then because Bella grows up and moves on and he collapses and he can't deal with it anymore, I just didn't see why. I didn't understand.
That's funny, Don, because I actually totally disagree with that. I thought Ryan was probably the flattest out of all the characters, and maybe that flatness was important to like ground the thing in like some sort of reality. This is a surrealist world, and when I guess maybe to support your cause that he is a good performer in this, okay, maybe he grounds it in reality by showing, by showing some sort of naturalistic style, whereas everyone else is just so crazy and surreal. I don't know, but I disagree with you on that one. I think
The thing for me is that, like, I need a story to be compelling, and I was really compelled at the beginning because the visuals are so intense, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Once I figured out what's going on, and I understood somewhat where we're going, I wasn't compelled by the story anymore, because the characters, maybe you're saying it's surrealistic, but I didn't find that. I didn't really care. And we would go on this boat for a while, and I was like, why are we on this boat? And then she meets these other characters, and we have these conversations, and I didn't see the purpose of it. I didn't understand the direction the story was going in. We're just like going wherever the story was taking us. And there was no meat to it. There was no reason. There was no conflict. She just was going out to discover the world. And this guy that wanted to contain her, or said, I was going to love and leave you, suddenly panics and just realizes he can't deal with that. I was like, I lost I wasn't compelled anymore.
What were some of the more shortcomings of the film? Did you feel that there was something else that Yorgos was missing, or what was out? What else did not kind of land for you?
I have read stuff about Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos talking about how they just love this character, Bella. I don't really see a character. I see a caricature. I don't see her evolving. It's all sexualized, and I understand the perception of women, and then she's attacked and like seen sexually all the time. I get all that stuff, but I just didn't see an evolution of a person. I saw an evolution of like an archetype.
I actually disagree with that. I think she, more than ever, has demonstrated the ability to grow and change as a character. I thought in the beginning of the film, she was a jester, almost a kind of a joke of a character. And I think as she kind of moved through the film, she kind of became the puppeteer or the marionette. Like, I thought she was designing the world eventually as she grew older, and her not only physicality, but the language changed too.
I have to say, I agree with you. The evolution of her dialogue is excellent.
And her physicality.
Well, okay, but it's not evolution of character. I'm just saying, that her structure, the way she spoke at the beginning and the way she spoke in the end was...
I adamantly disagree. I thought the way she owned each scene towards the end was indicative of her growth as a character, as she grew from a 3-year-old where she was being manipulated and controlled by people to seeing the world to basically dominating in the end. I don't know. The part of the film that did not work for me was I thought the vignetted style lens was just off for me. I actually thought the wide angle was totally fine. According to some sources of mine on this like really kind of quiet, secret website, YouTube, I actually found that they sometimes would go to that during when the actors were actually not like nailing the performance. They would go to this like smaller lens. They were saying that jokingly. Honestly, you have like the 3 of the best actors going. You don't use a vignetted lens. It's a little. I mean, style over substance. I mean, the film, I think it's balanced, but in those instances, I thought the style outweighed what was going on screen, and they should have avoided the vignette. Who cares? Like, please, I want to see Emma Stone dance. I want to see Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, well, speaking of that, the dancing sequence on the boat, was awesome. There's a dance sequence between those two, and I don't even know if they did what.
It really was.
I don't even know how much they used some technical stuff in, but it was just a great sequence of abstract, crazy dancing amidst all these people doing a proper like ballroom dance, and
Totally iconic. I think the movie's iconic too. And I think it's indicative of the entire piece. You have one of the greatest dance sequences. I mean, you're talking Pulp Fiction, you're talking Grease, you're talking the dance rain, it's singing in the rain, and then you got Poor Things. I mean, I thought that scene was so cool. Emma Stone, absolutely on fire. She's the best actor in the world right now. All right, so the next part of our podcast, I'm doing the top 3 Emma Stone performances, and Don will be doing what?
I'm going to do the top 3 Willem Dafoe performances.
My number 1 Emma Stone performance right now, Poor Things, is her best performance, and she's going to win the Oscar for that. That was an incredible performance. I would say number 2 is The Favorite. She was awesome in that. Another awesome Lanthimos movie. And I'd say number 3, if you're not watching this right now, you got to watch it. You got to watch The Curse. So I would go Poor Things, The Favorite, and The Curse, the top 3 Emma Stone performances. Don, what do you got for William Dafoe? What is the top 3 William Dafoe performances for you?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't those the last 3 films that Emma Stone made too?
Like I said, she's peaking now.
All right.
Best actor in the world.
So Willem Dafoe is an actor I admire greatly because he's one of those people that straddles the commercial world with the I'll do whatever the hell I want world. One of his earliest films, but I actually love him in, is a film by Wim Wenders called Far Away So Close. It's a bit of an out there thing, but he's amazing, and he's the devil. He's amazing. Then shortly after that, he did Last Temptation of Christ, and he played Christ. Now, that's a really tough role to play, and he did it really well. I believed he was Jesus. And then the last one I love him in is The Florida Project, which was from 5-6 years ago, a Sean Baker film. So, love Willem Dafoe.
Okay, so the final part of our podcast, Don and I review the films from 1 to 10, 1 being our least favorite, 10 being our most favorite movie. I would say my 1, the worst movie I've ever seen, was Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, the 2002 George Lucas shit show. And I would say my favorite movie is There Will Be Blood, the Paul Thomas Anderson epic starring Daniel Day-Lewis. Don, what is your least favorite and favorite movie of all time?
My favorite film of all time, it's not There Will Be Blood. It's the other film that was shot in Texas at the same time, No Country for Old Men. Gorgeous film. Love it. A couple of people told me they complained about my choice of Maverick.
I love that choice.
And I'm sticking with it.
Yeah. So Don, what do you got for Poor Things?
I guess it's the old adage, expectations, and my expectations are pretty damn high for the film. So I'm going to give it a 7.5. Really enjoyed it, but
Wow.
I was disappointed in the end. I was waiting for it to end. I wasn't, the last, whatever act you want to call it, I wasn't compelled. But I love the visuals. There's so much about it I did like, but it started high and then it slid.
You know, I feel like 9.5 is too high. It's a 9. It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. See it now at a movie theater near you.
Oh, definitely see it in a theater. Do not watch this on it.
This is unquestionably a movie theater experience you don't want to miss. Don, what did you have for lunch or dinner over before you saw the old Poor Things?
I actually went out this time. I didn't eat food at a supermarket or my house. I went to a place called Falafel Taco in Pleasantville, and it was excellent. I had it's called a Mexicanouche taco with, eggplant and all this stuff mixed in. Delicious. I recommend it highly.
I actually took my girlfriend out to a birthday dinner at Win Sun. And I have to say, this Taiwanese restaurant in Williamsburg is one of the best restaurants in the city. I thought the scallion pancakes were absolutely great, as well as there was a beef roll thing. Where they had marinated cucumbers, chicken buns. It was all kind of a Taiwanese fusion thing. Absolutely excellent. I couldn't recommend it more. I would feel very lucky to be able to go to such a fine.
Sounds like a masterpiece of a meal.
It was a masterpiece. It was the Poor Things of meals. However, I would call it a good thing. Win Sun, a Taiwanese restaurant in Williamsburg. Okay, everyone, you need to see Poor Things at the movie theater. It's playing at BAM, Alamo Draft House, Nighthawk, Williamsburg Cinema, Nighthawk Cinemas, Regal Essex Crossing, Regal Union Square, AMC Kips Bay, AMC Empire 25, Cinemas 123 Angelica, AMC Lincoln Square. Wherever you see a movie theater, I'm sure Poor Things is playing. Now, where else is it playing?
It's also playing up in Pleasantville at Jacob Burns, and very comfortable. Love the place. Come on out.
Go get pleasant with Poor Things at the movie theater in Pleasantville. That was the corniest thing I think I've ever said in my entire life.
Well, you've said
Guys, this is See It Now, the 15-minute review of a movie near you. I'm Michael, and I think you should go to a movie theater.
I'm Don. I feel exactly the same way.
St. Stephen with a rose, in and out of the garden he goes.